Hello students, welcome again in this class of business studies. We shall be studying today about another element of directing, that is leadership. Talking about leadership as an element, we have seen that the other element of leadership aims at, or the other element of directing aims at influencing the behavior and eliciting a behavior which is helpful in achieving the organizational objective. Whatever the element is there for, it is concerned with influencing the behavior of the subordinates. Similarly, leadership also is aimed at influencing the behavior of the subordinates towards achievement of the organizational goal. But as far definition is concerned, how can we define leadership? Who can be a leader? And then what are the basic propositions of leadership? So to begin with, or to define leadership, we simply say that leadership is the ability of an individual to persuade some other, that is, who is subordinate to him. Now, why he persuaded? Because to elicit a behavior, a willingness or cooperation on the part of the subordinate. And why such cooperation and willingness? And that is towards the realization of the organizational goal. Now here, the person who persuades the subordinate necessarily possesses some personal quality when it is about influencing the behavior of an individual or of subordinates. One necessarily needs to possess certain inherent qualities like imaginations, like orientations, then intelligence, all these qualities. It is not that everybody can be a leader. It is therefore said a leader can be a manager, but manager, it's certainly doubtful that whether a manager can be a leader or not. But that's a debating issue, and that's to be answered. But as of now, if we deal with what is leadership and what leader is try to, so it is a process by which or whereby a leader, a person or a superior, he try to persuade his subordinate and elicit a response or a behavior whereby he gets the willing cooperation, and this willing cooperation of the subordinates helps in the realization of the organizational goal. So the definition is leadership is the ability to persuade others. Now when does he make this influence? When does he persuade the other or the subordinate? The word is there, at work, when they are actually at work. Now there is only difference between this supervision and leadership. Supervision merely seeing that it is instructing and guiding, it is not influencing. But here it is influencing. When you influence somebody, he is under your command, he is under your obedience. So generally what happens when a person subdues, or rather give dominance to your command, it means he has faith and trust, and he looks forward for your guidance, for your directions. So this is what is entailed in leadership. A leadership therefore is concerned with persuading a subordinate who is at work, so that he gives a behavior out of will. It is of his willing cooperation and great enthusiasm, and these cooperation can be helpful in achievement of the organizational objectives. Now talking to how this ability of the individual to persuade the subordinate can be done or can be achieved. A person or a leader therefore, he induces and influences the behavior by several methods. That is, first one is, I have written here at the top, see, process of practice influence. How a leader tried to practice this influences or this art of influencing the behavior of the subordinates at work. It is through the process of assertiveness, sanction, reason, friendliness, coalition, bargaining, and authority. There are other processes as well, or rather other moves, action by which the leader try to influences the behavior. Now, what is assertiveness? If we say assertive, this assertive means that the individual who are being influenced, they adhere to the command which is given, and there is a strict authority. There is a force behind it that you have to comply such order or instruction. So behavior that is elicited, it is out of certain assertion. There is compliance to what one has said or what the leader has said. So this is assertiveness. Secondly, it is sanction. Now, what is sanction? Sanction is a sort of permission. A leader may ask that the subordinate who is under the direction of a leader, he has to just permit, or rather he seeks the permission that what type of behavior or what type of action is required, and if you do not conform to the action that is being directed, then there may be punishment as well. So sanction means seeking the permission of the superior whether his behavior is up to expectation or not. So the leader, there is a provision of reward for good behavior and good action, whereas there may be punishment contrary to if the actions and the orders are not executed. So that is sanction. So a leader try to influences the behavior through sanctions as well. Then the third one is reason. Now reasons call out that on the basis of certain facts and figures, the leaders try to influences or give his opinion, a reasonable argument in the favor of why he is saying such or why he is commanding such his subordinate. There is a basic reason behind it. So his reason is based on certain facts, certain figure. He gives his logical conclusion why he direct his subordinate to act in a particular manner. Then he can seek obedience. Then the next one is friendliness. So he mixes up with the groups, with the subordinate, and then friendliness calls for this using or asking for the supportiveness, that you are my friend, just support me, I would be supporting you, or rather you enjoy a type of goodwill. As a friendliness, you enjoy a type of goodwill, and out of the goodwill, when you say the other are bound, no, this person is good, so let us carry out what he says. So out of this goodwill, you seek obedience. So there also a friendliness is there. Then you have coalition. Now coalition necessarily refers to a sort of pact. Pact means an agreement that takes place whereby you try to move others, you work in association with others, so that the person can be under the influences that this movement is directed toward seeking a behavior that can be used for achievement of the organizational goal. So here there is coalition. Then another one is bargaining. You directly bargain that with your subordinate, you do this work for me, I will do this for you. So there is a mutual exchange. So these are the methods how a human being or how a superior try to persuade. So persuading is basically a process of practicing how to influences the subordinates so that they develop and they elicit a willing and enthusiastic behavior and cooperation, and they can be used towards the achievement of organizational goal. This is about leadership. A leader, therefore, must have some necessary qualities. I have discussed, like the intelligence is there. Then there is he must have good reasoning ability apart from intelligence. Then he must have a sound imagination. Then, as far the personality is concerned, he has to be a good personality. Now, personality is a complex of different personal traits. We would see and we would discuss later on what are the traits that we look for in a leader. What are the important qualities that a leader must possess? And above all, he must be a good human being and he has a great maturity. So these are the qualities, some of the qualities that a leader must possess, and out of which he uses this quality and these methods to persuade and coax the behavior of his subordinates so that they give willing cooperation and out of their willingness and enthusiasm. Now, if we say that whether a manager can be a leader or not, then this may be a debating issue. But yes, surely a manager cannot, because manager holds an official post whereby by virtue of it he is exercising his right, the power. A leader, to be a leader, necessarily it does not require holding some official post. Anybody can be a leader. It is not necessary. Mind it, it is not necessary in our organization that he must be holding some official post. He may be his colleague, one of the inmates, one of the peer groups who is living with him, who is working with him, co-worker. So anybody can be a leader. But the important thing is that a person who is a leader, he is able to win the trust and confidence of the worker, of the subordinates. And out of these trust, this subordinate, they look upon him for his guidance and for his support. This is the work of a leader. So this is about leadership. Now let us discuss what are the features of leadership. The first feature of leadership is that it is a process of influencing the behavior of followers, and I have written here followers. You can use over here subordinates. Subordinate are usually follower. The person whom we are trying to influence. Out of this influence, they exhibit, they manifest, and they demonstrate a behavior out of willingness and enthusiasm that can be used for achievement of organizational objectives. So we say that it is a process of influencing the behavior of the people or the subordinates or the followers. First one. Now when we say that the leader has been able to influence the behavior of the subordinate, how he can do so? What is so speciality in it? And how he is able to do that? If we ask, probably we come to a conclusion that any person can do that. But why a leader? Why he is termed as a leader? Because he possesses certain personal qualities which no other individual has. And we have discussed these personal qualities as intelligent, emotions, then we have this maturity, a stable attitude, behavior. A leader also have a very good human being. That is, he must be able to develop and have a good human relations with the peer group and with the co-worker in the organization. He must have an orientation towards the benefit of the groups, towards the benefit of his subordinates. He must be inclined. Then only he can be a leader. He must have an empathy, when we say, that is having a sense of feeling towards the losses, towards the suffering, towards the trouble, towards the problem that one is undergoing. That is empathy. You can feel it that yes, the person who is next to me, he is under some trouble. You are concerned about him. So therefore, a leader must have certain personal traits, certain personal qualities. Then only he can be a good leader, or then only he can practice the art of leadership. Then the second one is that it involves interaction between two or more persons. So here we can say that this leadership is interpersonal. Interpersonal means that it is not unidimensional. A person who exercises the influences. Now, the source is there, but what is the ends? What we want to achieve, and who is to be influenced? So over here we say that it is interpersonal. Directing does not evolves, or rather it does not starts or commences with only a single individual and ends with the single individual. Rather, it requires the interaction between two or more persons. So they interact together. The one influences and the other get influences. So we say that leadership is an interpersonal in nature, or rather the feature is that it is interpersonal. So this interpersonal lies the interaction between the leader and the subordinates. Third one is it implies pursuit of common goal in the interest of individual as well as groups. Now this act or this art of leadership and persuading, eliciting a response, a behavior out of willingness and enthusiasm. Why it is done? It is directed because there is a common goal, and the goal is achievement of the goal will not only help it is not in the benefit of only individual, but it is for the group as well as for the organization as a whole. And therefore we say that leadership is practiced, it is a pursuit of some common goal. There are certain goals that has to be achieved on behalf of the organization, and these people, the leader, the subordinates, they work together for achievement of the common goal. A leader cannot do it alone. He do it with the help of his followers or subordinates. Then the next one is it is the process of securing willing and enthusiastic cooperation. When we try to persuade or influences the behavior, what we seek at? We seek that the individual must demonstrate, they must give up, they show a behavior, an act that can be directed towards the achievement of the organizational goal. So these are the features. Another feature can be that leadership is a continuous process. It is not that a momentary act. A leader has to continuously influence the behavior so that he keep on working and always have the willingness to work. So the most important factor in leadership is a willing cooperation out of persuasion by the leader. So when a leader persuades, there is out of this willing persuasion, there is a willing cooperation. The art of leadership or the act of leadership does not end anywhere. Rather, a leader provides a guidance constantly to his followers or to the subordinates. Then, these are all the features of leadership. Hope that was ample for our discussion today. We shall see in our next class that what are the different styles and different types of leadership. Till then, have a look and happy learning.